Welcome back to Three's End here this afternoon. First story I have for you today, I actually heard when I was on exchange tour down in Australia from July 1980 through July 1982. Sometimes we would sit around in the early morning when we first got in the office, have a cup of coffee, and stories would start flowing. Well, this is one of them, and this one just cracked me up. It seems there was this young Frenchman, about 14, 15 years old, that was growing up in Alsace-Lorraine during the time of World War One. And his father owned a wine vineyard. So as this kid was growing up and the war was cranking off, the first thing he saw were the Germans coming running through his dad's vineyards. And then they were pushed back by the French, and then the Germans regrouped and pushed the French out, and then the Brits came over with the French, pushed the Germans back out, and the Germans regrouped again, and so they came through, and all this takes place over a couple, 3 years. If it's one group after another coming and just destroying his father's land. So as this kid was growing up, he made a vow to himself that as soon as he could afford it, he was going to leave that area and go to a place in the world, settle in a place in the world where the probability of war was very, very low. So he began to study world history and world geography, and around 1932-33, as Hitler was beginning to crank things up, he felt it was time to move. Well, by that time he had married, and so he decided to grab his wife and his kids, and they took off for this island in the Pacific called Guadacanal, where he began a coconut plantation. Of all things, Guadacanal. Can you just imagine on that day when he got up one morning and looked out and saw all these Marines heading for the beach? Mon Dieu, mon Dieu. Anyway, just used to love those stories.